Welcome AustCham viewers to another session of an interview with our sponsor. We have Wayne Williams here with us from the Miner Group, and one of our very long-standing supporters as a sponsor, which means that we can continue providing benefit to our members. And Wayne, thank you for coming.
Thanks, Frank. Good to be here.
I guess first, a bit of introduction from yourself in terms of where you fit into the Miner Group and the bit of the history of how Miner has developed.
All right. Yeah. Sure, Frank. I was lucky enough to join the Miner Group what is nearly 19 years ago, and the company then was quite small. We only had 9 hotels in Thailand, and I just happened to be baked into one of the hotels as a finance leader, looking after a few of the Thailand properties. So I've seen the growth of the hotel group over the last nearly 19 years grow from those 9 hotels to something now that has more than 567 operating hotels around the globe. So we're currently in 58 countries, and having seen that over a relatively short period of time has been super interesting. Fair bit of hard work in that time, and you can imagine we grew from what was essentially a domestic hotel company to a global company, and as I said, a lot of hard work, a lot of getting used to different cultures and changes and environments, and we've been through a fair bit in that time as well with incidents that's happened around the world, but the company's continued to grow during my tenure, so that's been good.
When you try to put that into your head and you say 500 something hotels in 19 years from 9 hotels or whatever it was, that's like a couple of hotels every month.
It sounds like it, Frank, but if we take Australia for example, and that's kind of where Miner got involved with AustCham, was we bought a company in Australia. Yeah. So there was a company called Oaks. It was a public company in Australia. We had 34 hotels, and we were lucky enough to get a reasonable share of that company, and then grew our shareholding over time, and eventually got enough of the shareholding for us to be able to delist that company. So we take on 34 hotels all in one go, and we had a team there to be able to look after that. And I think since that time in 2010, we've now grown to 72 hotels in Australia. So we've got a team of people there that are looking after the growth there, as we have in other regions as well, be it either here, be it either in the Middle East, or be it in Europe. So it sounds like a lot of hard work, and it is a lot of hard work, but some of those were acquisitions. Yeah. So that's how we were able to support that growth.
The Miner Group, I mean, their vision and strategy, I mean, obviously that's changed over time too, but there must be a very defined strategy and vision.
I guess we're a Thai-listed public company, yeah, but we're talking about a very entrepreneurial chairman and an entrepreneurial CEO, and so they have ambitions, and those ambitions, being an entrepreneurial company, mean you take advantage of opportunities when they become available. Australia was an opportunity that we're able to take advantage of. Europe was an opportunity that we're able to take advantage of, and that's been fundamental in wanting to grow the company. That we are able to take on those opportunities when they do become available, because we have ambitions to get to 1,000 hotels in the next 4 or 5 years. That's not going to come by opening one hotel at a time. There will be us looking at things like portfolios as well.
In your role, I mean, as the CFO, the financial performance and how you manage that and how you develop that over 19 years obviously has changed a lot, and you obviously still need to adapt and make change. What is how do you do that?
You got to be super flexible and adaptable. Yeah. You can't be rigid in the way that you think and the way that you operate. You need to be able to engage with people with different languages, different cultures, different mindsets, the way that they operate. You got to be firm when you need to. You got to be flexible when you have to, and you wouldn't be able to achieve that without going crazy unless you had those attributes. Yeah, there's a lot of late nights and sacrifices along the way, but you've got to have a good network of your own people as well. And I think, you know, I've been lucky enough, even with my team here, a lot of them have been with me a very long time, almost since I joined the company. So, and they know how I operate, I know how they operate, and yeah, getting those good people on board to support you and that they understand the way that you work has been fundamental in being able to manage that over time. Yeah. I mean, last year we turned over just over $5.3 billion US dollars. So not an insignificant amount of money. If I go back, you know, 15, 16 years, it was $150 million. So, you know, it's like 30 times growth in earnings. Yeah. So it's, yeah, it tests you at times.
But you also have to adapt to different processes, I would imagine, or you've had to change the way you do the reporting and how you collate the data because you've got so many people putting input into it.
Yes, and I guess, you know, even from the very start, the first couple of years I was there, we put about a standard reporting mechanism that we wanted at the head office, and we still use that same mechanism today. So even though individual businesses or clusters of businesses or companies that we acquire might have their own accounting systems, everybody feeds into that same template, and that enables us to consolidate things. And, you know, with the tech tools that we have available today, consolidating that and seeing the granular detail of what you need to see to is pretty easy. Yeah.
I remember my days in operations analysis at General Motors and having to consolidate. We didn't have, you know, the tools that we have today, so it was a lot bigger task. The Australian relationship and dynamics between Thailand and Australian business, I mean, it's obviously grown, and in the future, is that going to grow further?
You know, clearly, you know, I've had a long relationship with AustCham, having been on the board and sat as a president for a year. I was lucky enough to, you know, have a deeper understanding of some of that. Obviously, as a company, we invested in Australia back in 2009, 2010, and we've invested close to $1 billion now in not only the Oaks Hotel business, and we're growing our other brands there, but, you know, the majority stake we took in the Coffee Club, you know, our coffee roasting business in Australia now, which is, I believe, the largest coffee roasting business in Australia. So we've got a huge factory down in Melbourne now. We believe that relationship continues to be strong. You know, I came to Thailand, you know, I transferred here, and I learned very quickly that there are value systems between Thais and Australians that are very similar. And that's why you see a lot of Australians here, and there's a lot of Australians that, you know, are leading bigger companies. There are many Australians that have small businesses, and, you know, the chamber's fundamentally, you know, a chamber of very many, you know, small and medium enterprises that feel that there's an opportunity for them to do well here, and many of them have done well. You know, many of the chamber members have done very well. So, you know, many have had some challenges along the way, but you know, Thailand's a big country. You're talking nearly 70 million people. There are opportunities in many sectors. The relationship has been strong and continues to be strong. I think, you know, the embassy in Austrade will tell you there's huge opportunities both ways. There are people always looking to engage one way or the other. Australia is seen as a very stable investing environment, like us and many of the other Thai companies that are invested there. And I think there are many companies, particularly in Australia, that see as an opportunity to get their goods and their services into the market here in, as I say, is, you know, nearly 70 million people. So, you know, there's plenty of food in supermarket stalls. So.
How many countries is Miner actually involved in?
So I'm the CFO of the hotel group, sorry. We probably are in 58 countries now. Many of the countries are also represented for our food group. They have a few other countries that we're not in. In total, 63 countries I think we operate. But here's our home office. You know, we're listed on the Thai Stock Exchange here, so, you know, this is home.
That's quite a global footprint though, 63 countries.
Yeah, it means that, you know, when you get on the rotations, they're having to do reviews. You're working late into the night or very early mornings, and you know, I go through phases where I travel a fair bit. But yeah, here's always home.
Oh, for sure. So, I guess the last question for you, I mean, to talk a bit about, I mean, sustainability and your corporate compliances, etc., are very important, obviously, especially in a company of this size. How do you manage that? I mean, and what do you actually look at when you talk about sustainability? It's a word that many people use, but what does it really mean for Miner?
Yeah, look, it's one of our pillars, and I think Miner as an organisation has been represented in many of the internationally recognised indices for a long time. You know, it doesn't matter whether it's MSCI, Dow Jones Sustainability Index, or FTSE for Good, etc. So we've invested a lot of time trying to understand what is the right thing to be done in that space. It's not just sustainability these days, it's ESG. It's what you're doing ethically, what are you doing from a governance perspective. You know, we've been recognised for the things that we have been doing. We've got a big team of people that are purely just focused in that space. You know, a lot of it's data driven, but ultimately, because it's one of our 5 key pillars, it's a natural part of what happens in every single business unit all of the time. And it's everything from, you know, we have an annual day around the founder's birthday where every single business unit is doing something globally on that day to give to their local communities, everybody from the chairman all the way down. But it's everything else that we do. It doesn't matter whether we're looking at single-use plastic reduction. You know, we've clearly got our science-based targets to reduce our energy footprint, to reduce our carbon footprint, and they're part of people's KPIs. So it's not only structurally included in what we do day to day. I think people genuinely want to be involved with what it is that's required to be able to meet what is being a good corporate citizen. And we want to be one of the companies at the forefront of that.
And you've got to do all of these things and keep improving your service, which is something you have to balance, right? I mean, you can't take away from your customers at the same time.
No, you got to, you know, customers need to be at the forefront.
Yeah.
And for us, it's all about turning good service into good hospitality, because it's not about the transactional part of giving good service. It's about, you know, how do you make, you know, the brands that we have, doesn't matter whether they're food or hotel, you know, be genuinely choices that people want to go to because, you know, they either feel at home or they're getting a great experience. So we spend a lot of time looking at the metrics that we need to focus on to ensure that we're at that point. But there's only so much that from a transactional basis you can check. You actually need genuine good people who understand what it is that you want to achieve and that they can naturally just exude that sense of hospitality.
I assume that you've managed to develop talent and bring them through over the years, right? So you'd have to be growing your own talent as well.
Yeah, so not only do we take on interns and people that are coming from training colleges, but just prior to COVID, we set about creating our own hospitality school. So the Asian Institute of Hospitality Management in coordination with La Roche Hospitality School in Switzerland. We created a campus here in Bangkok, and it's a 3.5-year graduate degree program with a fair bit of it is, you know, real live work experience as part of that. And we had our first cohort of degree graduates last year, and we've got some 300 students going through that program now. So not only are we providing vocational opportunities, not only are we providing internships and training programs, but we're also doing things like graduate degree programs. So for people that are really looking at the top end of growing their career in hospitality.
That's quite amazing to have to do all that. But I guess at the end of the day, you've got the growth. The proof in the pudding is there. So
yeah, I mean, maybe I've got the easy part because I'm just collating the numbers, and you know, there's a responsibility in doing that. But the numbers are only as a result of everything that happens out in all of our business units. You know, and if those people weren't doing what they do, and they clearly do it well, we wouldn't be seeing the results that we've been able to achieve over, you know, the last decade and a half that I've been involved. Plus.
All right, Wayne. Thank you for coming in and allowing us to talk to you, and hopefully we give our members some insight into the Miner Group. And thank you.
Great.
And AustCham, take care. Till next time.